going to where all email correspondence received for citizen participation has been forwarded to each council member and will be copied and attached to the approved minutes of the meeting for public record. First, we have John Risch.
Thank you, Mayor. I have some recommendations for Kirby, Texas, and the financial relief.
Now, she didn't require Mr. Risch to preface his statement with his name and his address, but we already know that's going to be the case. We're going to pause this. Now, as our wonderful mayor gets to the end of the first speaker, she's looking at her papers and she realizes, oh crap. The next guy to speak is Tory Reese, and he's filed a criminal complaint that I'm not making other people do the same things I'm making him do. So what does she do at the end of his speech?
As lovely as Kirby. All of these ideas would help grow into a better place for the people to live, and our city income would allow for more expansion and the ability to make living even better. Thank you, Mayor.
And sir, what is your address, please?
5222 Kazan Drive.
Thank you.
And these notes have been put on in the record.
Thank you.
Now, she also let him continue to speak after that, but she'd shut me up and kick me out of the meeting when I have time to speak.
Next, we have Tory Reese. And sir, can you please state your address?
Mayor, will you state your address?
Sir, can you please state your address?
No, ma'am. It's a safety concern of mine. I don't want to state my address.
I'm sorry, sir. During citizen participation, you have to state your address. Well, name and address, correct.
I'm sorry. You have not imposed this on the other people who've spoken, and according to your rules, it's supposed to preface their statements, correct?
On that email, did it have the address on the email?
I'm not referring to that. The gentleman just spoke. You didn't ask for his address before he spoke.
I understand. I didn't want to stop him halfway through.
So you have viewpoint discrimination already.
So do you want to give your address? He was willing to give his address. So yes or no?
The answer is
no. Okay, thank you. So next we have Patrick White.
Okay, so again, right there, she didn't let me give her the answer. She made the answer for me, and the chief of police told me I needed to step away from the podium. Issue? Yeah, there's an issue.
The chief assigned it to a detective. Well, you're the only one. I'm the only one.
I mean, I didn't even get to compliment you, which I tended to do today, because she had to push the address issue. Were you here for that? Did you see that?
I was standing
Yeah,
right there.
did you notice what she did? Was she read down the list? She didn't ask that guy for the address, but she saw it was next, and then she caught it at the end and said, "Oh, what's your address?" And I'm like, see, this is exactly what I'm talking about. She does this.
Consistency.
And then when I was mentioning she didn't do it with him, and she goes, there was an email on that address, and I'm going,
An email's not an address.
well, she's referring to the one before, which I mentioned in a criminal complaint against her. But that hasn't even been filed yet. So how does she know about it already? I'm like, I don't care. I understand. I put it in an email, emails float, I do whatever. But at the same time, I'm sitting there laughing because she knows darn well eventually that email is going to show up. And even if there was an address on it, it was only his first name given. And she's requiring first and last name and address from everyone else that she doesn't like. But for that person, oh, Bob, just Bob, no address, read the email. And then when someone said, hey, what was the address on it? They gave Jack Miller's address. Now you tell me who likes Jack Miller and is going to compliment the mayor and insult Jack Miller their entire email. As if that, but again, I have a right not to give my address. The state's already done this. That's why Alpine had to revoke their mandatory, you have to disclose your address. It's a safety issue. I don't have to disclose my address to speak in public. I can tell you I'm a resident of the state of Texas.
My address is this, and Madam Mayor, your address is this. Now that we all know each other's address, I'll continue to speak.
I guarantee you. I mean, that's why I asked. I said, what's your address? She don't want to give her address. Right across the street there. But since she doesn't want to give her address but insists everyone else's, do you think that it's not going to be made publicly known? And she's going to say, that's doxing me. That's wrong. You doxed me. And I say, how's that wrong when you insist?
You are doxing every resident that speaks at the city council meeting.
And there's no way that she can sit there and tell me.
And when if we don't give an address, shut up and sit down. It's like, okay.
I mean, I'm willing to take that hit. I do what I do, and I know this is petty stuff.
Sure.
But it all builds up to a Manel case. What did I possibly lose by not speaking today and complimenting Caitlin for fixing a couple of things on the website that I brought to her attention? The officer here for telling me, about the flags issues and trusting me as a non-citizen enough to get that information where it needed to go. Oh, former treasurer of the VFW, he can tell you the same thing.
Yeah.
Any VFW will take the flags.
Every year they have a burn on Flag Day.